future is pretty wet as well, because
Yes.
after a summer of dry weather and widespread droughts, parts of the UK are now facing flood warnings.
Yeah, it comes as experts are warning that this is just the start of what could be a winter of heavy rainfall.
Heck. Let's talk to weather journalist Nathan Rao, who's here. Nathan, morning to you.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Look, what can we expect over the next few months? I mean, long-term forecasts are difficult, though.
Long-term forecasts are always very difficult, and they very rarely come exactly as they've been made. But certainly for the next couple of days, we're in the spin cycle. We're not coming out of it. The Met Office has got a yellow rain warning in place until 10 a.m. today for another inch of rain. That's across the south of England, where already we've seen flooding yesterday, some very, very heavy rain. The Environment Agency has got 39 flood alerts in place across the south and the southeast, 5 more serious flood warnings across the south. And through the week or through the next couple of days, there's another big low-pressure system to the west of the UK that's going to be throwing wind and rain. Actually, some strong winds along the coast, along the Irish Sea coast, along the southern coast, but more rain coming in from the west across to the east, so more of what we've had, I'm afraid.
OK, so you talk about this weather coming in from the west, but something strange is going to happen towards the end of the week, and unusual meteorologically speaking, where the weather's going to come in from the east.
From the east.
What will the impact of that be?
Right. Now, the Met Office are talking about something called retrogression. Now, that is where we usually have our weather systems move from west to east, but later this week, around Wednesday or Thursday, a high-pressure system is going to ridge in from the east to the west. That's coming in the opposite direction, and that is going to pull in some warm air from the south, from the continent. So we could see some very warm, mild temperatures later this week, around 16 or 17 degrees, which is very unusual. It's about 10 degrees higher than average for the time of year later this week. That's mainly in the south and the southeast, but even up north there'll be some milder temperatures, and that's because the weather's going backwards.
Right. So why do we talk, then, about this being a winter of flooding? I mean, obviously, obviously, in the next week we're going to be wet and then warm. Yeah. But what about sort of the rest of the month?
I think what's happened is because we had the very, very dry summer, we've got very dry ground, and as soon as the rain came when the autumn arrived, it doesn't soak into the ground; it runs off in floods. So we've had flooding pretty much since the rain started, and we've got heavy rain in the forecast. We're still in autumn. There's heavy rain still in the forecast. There's no reason why we shouldn't get heavy rain going further into November, December. We get heavy rain. And because of this effect, we're seeing flooding all the time. So whether we get a winter of floods, I don't know. I mean, if we get heavy rain, like we've had in the last 24 hours, I mean, on Sunday, yesterday, the Met Office weather warning was warning of 2 inches in a few hours, and that's a lot of heavy rain in a short period of time. So this carries on, it'll just keep on flooding. OK,
so we won't be able to retain any of that much-needed water, am I assuming, then, if there's lots of flooding? Because we reported, didn't we, so much over the summer about all the droughts, about the reservoirs being low, about all the water leaking and people having to, preserve water and hose pipe bans. Are we able to turn that around with all this? Are we wasting it?
This is still the case. We still have hose pipe bans in place, even though we've had this heavy rain. Thames water, the reservoirs, 18% lower than they should be at the time of the year, and the river levels are still lower in parts of the country than they should be at this time of year, and we are still under a hose pipe ban. What replenishes the water supplies is always going to be slow, sustained, drizzly type rain that soaks into the aquifers, into the underground water reserves, and that replenishes our water supplies. What we're getting at the moment is intense torrential downpours that rush off in torrents and don't help really to replenish. I mean, they do help, but what we need is sustained long-term drizzle-type rain to replenish those water supplies.
Well, that's something to look forward to, then. Long-term drizzle.
The stuff we love.
Yeah, that's what we're made of, isn't it?